A confused buyer does not exist.
Right.
So if you tell someone, hey, if you download this prompt pack, it's going to set up your funnel, it's going to do your text, it's going to write this, it's going to produce your ads, and da 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 da. You should already be feeling it just from that little thing where you're like, I'm lost.
$42 million. That's what Lemlist, an outreach software company, generated in annual revenue in 2025. And this week, the founder of a sales system company called Cold IQ posted the entire playbook. Not the highlights, not the PR version, the actual funnel. The channels, the tools, the conversion rates, the ad spend, the affiliate strategy, all of it. Now, most of us aren't building a $42 million software company. But here's what I couldn't stop thinking about reading that post. They didn't have a secret. They had a clear funnel, a content strategy, and a system that converted entry offers into customers. 3 things, that's it. Today, we're going to break down how AI helps you build all 3 from wherever you're starting. And then we're going to talk about how AI automates the outreach that fills the funnel, even when you're not at your desk. I'm Joe Downs, with me is Peter Swain. We're just a couple of successful idiots who figured out how to use AI to improve our lives and power our businesses. And that's what we try to do every episode, is share that with you. Peter, true or false? The British tea culture invented the world's first follow-up sequence. Send the invite.
Probably.
Wait, hold on, I'm not done.
I mean, the answer is yes. If we invent, it's definitely ours.
So you're going with true before you even know the whole question.
Yeah.
All right.
God, what is it?
British tea culture invented the world's first follow-up sequence. Step 1, send the invite. Wait 3 days. Send another. Wait 3 more. And somehow this is just called being polite.
Well, when you convert it to funnel world, it's wait 1 day, then 2 days, then 3 days. But yeah, exactly.
So you're going true. You're sticking with your answer.
Why not?
Today, how AI helps you map out and build a growth funnel from scratch, which I think is so applicable for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. Like, we're all in business. Whatever we do, we need business coming in the door. So this is paramount for any business to survive. And then, not only are we going to talk about how it's built, Peter, how AI can automate the outreach that fills it while you're doing everything else. And when I say we, I mean you. I'm just asking the questions and saying it.
Sure.
So,
okay. So let's go at it.
Hold on. So Michael Lieben runs a company called Cold IQ, and he helps businesses build modern sales systems, right? And this week he did something I genuinely hadn't seen before, as I said in the opening. He broke down step by step how Lemlist, which is the outreach software company, went from 0 to 42 million in annual revenue. And he didn't just give the highlight reel, or he actually gave the funnel, the channels, the tools, the conversion rates, the ad spend, the affiliate strategy, all of it. And I'm reading this thinking most of us don't have a $550,000 ad budget, right? Probably no one listening. And we're a team of LinkedIn influencers. But there's something in the bones of how they built that growth engine that every entrepreneur, I think, can use, Peter. If you strip the $42 million company down to its framework, what would a Main Street business owner actually take away?
Well, I've always found it quite, first of all, this is my jam. This is what I've done for all my life.
I'm excited for this one. I'm going to sit back and listen.
I find it amazing that if you ask people how they make their product or deliver their service, they can give you a pretty comprehensive, we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. And when you ask people the same question around their marketing, they have no freaking idea. And if I had a choice between effective marketing and sales or an effective product, I've got to say, I take the marketing and the sales. So if you've got the money walking in the door, you can always fix the products on the other side. If you've got a product and you're sitting in a room on your own and nobody's buying it, you're just, there's that, 60th birthday where you've got one of those party blowers and there's nobody at the party. Hey, you don't want to be the world's best kept secret. It's a terrible idea. Broadly speaking, marketing splits into 3 stages: top of funnel, mid funnel, and bottom of funnel. Now, if there's any seasoned marketeers out there, I apologize. You can just tune out for the next half an hour because we're going to be talking about things that you won't agree. But I say that, Joe, because when we do this in in stages. People go, oh no, it's a content playground. I'm like, yeah. And those concepts don't work at this level. We need stuff that the average entrepreneur can get hold of. So this is what I believe is true at this level of conversation. Top, mid, bottom. Top of funnel is how do I get them from out there to in here? Okay, so top of funnel is inherently happening on other people's channels.
Can I, before I said I would be quiet, but I want to just add a tweak.
You've never
to this.
done that, so I don't think you're going to do it now.
I think you're about to speak this to someone who doesn't have experience with this. In other words, someone whose expertise is what they're actually selling, not how they sell it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that's who we're speaking to here.
And I've got like people like Lexi as a model in my brain of like, so makes great hats. Okay. Well, how do we do that? So top of funnel is how do I get them from out there to in here? So how do I get the first yes, which is their email address? So how do I get them to say yes to something where there is an exchange, but it's not a monetary exchange, it's a data exchange. You're going to give me your email and I'm going to give you this thing, which we often call a lead magnet. That's our first exchange. Because that's out there to in here, it will inherently be happening on search, as in blogs, SEO, or it'll be happening on social, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Insta, etc. Or Chamber of Commerce meetings. Like all of those are happening in somebody else's space. Okay. So once we've got them from out there to in here, we then have to do mid-funnel, which is how do we turn them from a suspect into a prospect? How do we indoctrinate them into our worldview? How do we show them why what we know is different from what everybody else knows? Also known as nurture sequences. And then bottom of funnel is how do we now convert that into a transaction? So we go from top of funnel, how do we get them from out there to in here? Mid funnel, how do we create a relationship? Bottom of funnel, how do we convert that relationship into a transaction? And then we have this wonderful thing called ascension, which is once we've converted them into a transaction, how do we add more value and take more revenue at the same time? AI is a beast at executing in each of those three stages.
Should we pause at each of these stages and maybe just share a nugget about how, like the logistics behind? So I think anyone listening can go, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. How do I do it? Do I use Claude? Am I doing this myself? I know I can hire you to do it, but am I doing this? Let's say I can't afford you. What are the logistics of each of these steps?
So the first thing that we do is we go into something like Claude or Manus and we do our deep research. And which we've spoken about in previous episodes, because we need to know a couple of things to make this whole secret recipe work. One is, who is our ideal customer? And second of all, what are their current pain points? We need that intelligence. Like, why is it that they need this? We call it the 3 a.m. sentence. What is it they say at 3 a.m. when no one else is listening? Like, what is the burning desire or the burning pain of this person? We then also need to know the time window of purchase. This is quite advanced, this one. So for example, if we're selling a hotel, normally we're selling to women. About 80% of decisions as to where you go and where you stay are made by women, not men. So it's normally a woman that's doing it. Normally, not all the time, but normally it is. And the time from first discovery to purchase can often be as much as 8 months, because planning a holiday isn't tomorrow. It can be months and months and months of thought as to what transaction you're going to do, where you're going to stay, where you're going to go, etc. Whereas buying some shampoo is a 20-minute window of decision. Okay. And the reason that that's so important is because the amount of time they're going to spend in mid-funnel is that number. So we're going to have to find it's a different strategy for one versus the other. So let's say we now know who is the ideal customer, what is the buying window, what are their pains, what are their hopes, what are their goals, what are their dreams. So we need to be able to see this person in our brain, not a group of people, not 35 to 50, that they are 42, female, in Idaho. They've got 2 kids. One has just left home. The other is, we need to be able to map this person. And it's the center of the bullseye. It's not that every one of our customers will look like this. It's like, this is who we're aiming for. And that will then expand out. As we get more people, they won't fit that as tightly, but they'll still have semblances to it. Once we know that, then we can start having interesting conversations with AI. For example, what would be the first product this person would buy? Like, what is the $49 or $97 product that this person would buy? And why would they buy it? Because I like starting at the bottom of funnel, the point of the transaction, not the top. Because everything is serving that one moment when we say, hit this button, give me $49, buy this thing. So we want to work backwards from that moment, because that's the moment we're trying to secure. Start with the end in mind. So what is the end? The end is they're going to buy this 6-hour course for $49 that is X. Okay, good. Now we know that. Now we need to work on our mid-funnel. Okay, what are we going to have to teach that person about the world in order to make them want to buy this product? And who are we going to, we spoke about this earlier, and who are we going to throw stones at during that process? What is the enemy that these people all agree with us is an enemy? So if anyone doesn't know this, you can do a bit of an AI research. It's called the enemy framework. If you want to sell organic coffee to somebody, you should sell against something like the Rainforest Certified Alliance. And you want to find the reasons that, did you know that, for example, I found this out years ago. Did you know, Joe, to be classed as a fair trade product, only 30% of your product needs to be fair trade? The reason it was put in place is if you take like a granola bar, the raisins and the cranberries can be fair trade, but the flour can't be, because of the time it takes to transport flour from a fair trade country to a non-fair trade company. The flour won't be in usable anymore. So only 30% of the active ingredients have to be fair trade. What Nescafe does with that is they have one coffee roastery next trade and one isn't. And they'll put 31% of their fair trade product and 69% of their non-fair trade product in a can, call it fair trade, and triple the price. So we used to sell on behalf of a brand against fair trade. That was our enemy. You think fair trade, you're making these great decisions because fair trade is telling you X, Y, Z. Did you know that fair trade only has to boom, boom, boom? And people are like, that's outrageous. It's like, yeah, so come and eat our thing, because our thing doesn't have any of that thing. And they're like, yeah, I'll eat your thing. You have to tell people what the enemy is so that they understand who you speak against. It's so much more important to understand what you stand against, bizarrely, than what you stand for. You have to tell them what you stand against. So this nurture sequence is going to be, hey, thank you for downloading my lead magnet. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to show you this. And we're going to talk about this so that you can make the ask for the purchase.
I think you just described every political argument too.
100%. But politics is just marketing on steroids.
It's just, what are you for? I don't know, but I'm against this guy.
But I'm definitely against this.
Yeah.
Great. So am I. Awesome. You're going to vote for me? Yes. What is he going to do? I'm going to spend 4 years cleaning up off the taxpayers' dollar. Anyway, Then our top of funnel is very similar. We're going to ask AI, what is the thing that would capture this person's attention? I'm going to go back to our last episode that would cut through the noise, that would be different, that would be, differentiate me from everybody else, that would, importantly, at the top of funnel, and AI will do this for you anyway, that answers one problem. So one of the things most entrepreneurs do horribly wrong in marketing is they try to do more. They try to add more. They try to teach more. They add.
That's an interesting concept. Let's hold on. Let unpack that for me. What do you mean? What's an example?
A confused buyer does not exist.
Right.
So if you tell someone, hey, if you download this prompt pack, It's going to set up your funnel. It's going to do your text. It's going to write this. It's going to produce your ads and da 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 da. You should already be feeling it just from that little thing where you're like, I'm lost. What was the first thing?
Mm.
Because if I'm not being successful, or if an entrepreneur's not being successful, what they tend to do is take their lead magnet and add stuff. They're like, oh, and it now includes this, Joe. It includes an audience segmentation tool, and it now includes this, and it now includes this.
I thought that was marketing 101, like the whole, and then there's more. But wait, there's more. Like,
you do one thing, and then you can add things to support the one thing, but you can still only do one thing.
mm. So you've already gotten the sale when they're adding more.
Exactly. Then
Okay.
now they're on, okay, feed
That
me.
makes sense. But to get me to that point, they sold me one thing.
It's like, hey, click this link, and I'm going to give you the definitive prompt to analyze your ideal customer and tell you the 3 things that they want to buy. That people download because they can understand what it's going to do. People get really clever with marketing before they tick off the dumb box. Tick the dumb box first, which is, what does this thing do? Everybody is inherently selfish. They want to know what they're going to get, when they're going to get it, how much it's going to cost them. We used to do this test with people, and it was a very easy test, which is as simple as this. Take a deep breath, tell people what they're going to get, and if you're dead before you finish the sentence, it was too much. It's got to be, hey, if you listen to this podcast, you're going to get X. Not X and Y and Z and A and B and Z. No, just X. And it's a really dangerous thing of when people stop succeeding, they add more. It's just a default reaction of like, well, what else can I do? Because I'm obviously not adding enough value. So it's not that you're not adding enough value. It's that you're confusing people whilst you're explaining the value.
So where are we in the funnel here?
We went through top, mid, and bottom, like of the AI. Once it has this context of who is the buyer, what are they buying, why are they buying it, it can work on all of those other pieces very, very easily. But I've got an advanced tip if you want, Joe.
Please.
Take that report from Cold IQ and say, replicate this, please.
I want to do this.
One thing I've always loved about digital marketing is the realization that everybody's playbook is on display. So if you're selling against Grant Cardone, for example, you're in real estate education or real estate fund syndication, go and buy his thing. Go through his funnel and look at it through soft eyes. Look at it as an observer. Like, okay, so I got the first email after 22 hours. Okay. And I got the next email 6 hours later. Got it. And then I got a text message 1 hour later. Awesome. And just replicate it. Soup to nuts. Just replicate it. I think my advice to everybody would be step 1, copy the best out there. Once you understand what's happening, then you can start working on how to be different. But you can use AI to just directly copy the best in the business. You want to launch a best-selling book? Well, go and sign up for a book funnel from somebody that's about to launch a book and see what happens. I guarantee you, I know what happens. They'll send you chapter 1. And then they'll ask you to tag them on social with what's the next post. And when they see the social post, then they're going to reach out to you and talk to you about something else. And then they're going to ask you to share it with 3 friends. Now, the formulas are there. We're no longer in marketing. It's not an art form. It's a science. And in science, we have right and wrong answers. So do the science.
Who gave them all the right suggestion or right answer of, you sign up for the webinar or whatever, and it's a week before, 3 days before email, a day before email, morning of email and text, an hour before, 10 minutes before. It's too much. Maybe the science is there, but it's too much. And it's to the point where it pisses me.
It works.
I don't know.
You're thinking about you as an individual. Trust me,
I know.
it works.
It works for that.
And I wish it didn't. Like when we're running a webinar and we do 7 emails and 3 texts and 2 afterwards, I'm like, surely no. But when we drop things out of the sequence, less people show up.
Less people. Well, there you go. That's part of the ebook there.
Yeah. Who gave them the right answer? It's just decades worth of iteration.
Yeah.
But you don't need to work out how to make this work. You just need to copy somebody in your industry that's doing great at doing the thing already. The market is big enough to accommodate for them and you at the same time.
That's so true. How about just a quick, and I mean quick if you can, because we got one more segment I want to get to about how to actually implement it. But I think this is part of the first part, which is the lead magnet. I know the answer to this, but I just want people to hear it from you because it sounds better with a British accent. How do I create the content? What's the simplest way to create these lead magnet content?
Hey, Claude, we've just done what the lead magnet is. And Claude will literally turn around and say, do you want me to create that for you? And you say, yes.
All right, wrong answer. I'm kidding.
Then I'd use Gamma.
Of course that, but one of the things I'm using for Storage Moguls is I'm putting content out there on YouTube, I'm doing podcast, all kinds of stuff, and content is repeatable. Like AI takes that content and creates short videos from it, and it's something I have to do, and I wanted people to hear that accent.
Well, yeah, I'm saying right. You've got things like Opus, Clip, Munch, Descript, which will all take long video and turn it into shorts and then publish it for you. But you've also got things like Gamma that can produce very, very stylish presentations and documents and downloads now.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I would just, my default answer is to ask Claude to say, hey, I want to produce short videos.
Yeah.
What platforms does that?
That's my default answer to everything now. I just ask Claude. But I just wanted people to know this is not a heavy lift to start building your funnel, because if you just record your day-to-day, whatever it is you're doing, that recording itself is a lead magnet.
100%.
You can be distilled down into short videos, to blog posts, to LinkedIn posts, to Instagram shots, reels, everything. The whole it's incredible what AI can do for
you. Could create a 30-day content calendar in Claude, plus the lead magnet, plus the funnel page in Lovable, plus the carousel posts, plus the LinkedIn posts. 55 minutes, just shy of an hour, to get the first pass up. It won't be perfect, but it'll be way more than you've got right now, and you'll start seeing some actual numbers as to what's working and what's not.
That's incredible, and that's the perfect lead into Michael Lieben posted something this week that I read. I had to read it twice, to be honest with you, because he described 19 different software APIs, which to me sounds a little overwhelming, but it's good to know what's available. That when you connect them together with an AI coding tool, they build a fully automated outbound sales machine. Finds your leads, enriches their data, writes personalized emails, launches the campaign, logs everything into your CRM, apparently in about 15 minutes with a handful of prompts. Now, that specific setup is not something I'm building tomorrow. You know me, I'm not capable of that. I'm capable of a lot. That seems like a little heavier of a lift for me. And I'm guessing most obviously are, the solopreneur or entrepreneur listening, unless that's their field, that seems a little advanced. But the concept behind it, using AI to automate the most repetitive parts of the sales outreach so it keeps working even when you're not, that is something any business owner can start doing today. So Peter, where does someone actually start with that? How do I build an outreach campaign?
So the easiest way I would do this is I would go to something like Apollo and the free tier and just download the list. You don't need to connect it. You can just go and download a CSV of 100 records. I would drop that into Claude Cowork, and I would tell it to go and research through this list, find out anything it can on LinkedIn and any other data source around these people, and predict one problem that each of those people might have. That's where I'd start. So we'd take this 100-person download, and we'd turn it into, what is this person most likely to be experiencing in their business right now?
And then what's my next step with that? You're saying it's going to give me, for all 100, a pain point.
Yeah, why not do all 100?
Okay,
if we're in an infinite scale world with AI, we don't need to just do the 20, we could do 100.
True.
Again, if I was in something like Claude Cowork, I'd say, great, send them all an email from me. This is my product or service, if it doesn't already know your product or service. And this is the action I'm trying to get them to take. So back to our marketing world, it's probably download a lead magnet. So it's probably going to write an email that sounds something like, hey, Joe, I hope you're well. We've built this tool that entrepreneurs can use to do an audit of where they're at with AI. It's completely free, just as a kind of give back after 3 years as AI training and 10,000 plus conversations. You'll find it at audit.peterswain.com. We think you might be surprised as to the results. Kind regards. And you're going to give it the rough version. Like, this is my rough version. It doesn't have to be word perfect, grammar perfect. But instead of giving it all of the sitting for hours, just say, hey, send something like this and personalize it using all the enrichment that you just did. Then if you're in like a Gmail system, hit the Claude connector and connect the Gmail connector so it can send the emails for you. So that's going to take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes to connect the connector, write the prompt to tell it to personalize the emails.
Did you say email or email sequence?
An email at this point.
Just one email?
Yeah, before I did anything else, I'd want to work out if they're actually opening the email, if actually anyone was interested. Did I get the right list from Apollo? Before I go down the rabbit hole, let's see if 2 or 3 people reply.
And of course, from a couple episodes, first reach out to them on LinkedIn, right?
Connect on LinkedIn, Cowork will be able to open LinkedIn and connect with them first.
I feel like we have to do an episode on Cowork.
100%, but I don't know how we do it on a pod versus a VOD or whatever they call that.
Because you need to demonstrate how it works.
It's really yeah, we could try.
I mean, I could give a plug for you if you want, and say join your mastermind where you demonstrate it. But
what about in like a few episodes time? Why don't we do like a special, like a live for people who listen to the podcast? We'll do a YouTube at a certain time and we'll do it live. So we'll use the podcast to promote, and we'll do that.
We should announce it, promote it, give a date, and then there we go. We're on YouTube, and you've got your screen up, and
yeah, let's do it.
And let's say Claude for that, or Cowork in particular, because a lot of these things we've been talking about, especially this episode, I feel like just Claude can do for you, right? The Cowork, you could set it up, and that's if you're, I don't know. Do you need to be tech savvy minded? I mean, it's something I can actually do, right? And I'm not,
because as soon as you start adding that in, it starts feeling a bit techy. I'd rather, if you're just downloading the CSV, why not? Now, most people, the next step they would talk about sequences. They would start recommending tools like Instantly or Apollo, and I'd actually recommend something different. I'd recommend you go back to Cowork and say, great, I want to extend that single email we've just sent into a sequence. So keep a record of what you just sent to people, and I'm going to check back in with you in 2 days, and we're going to write the follow-up. And it will store, I just sent email 1 to Joe, Bill, Ben, Harry, Sally, Megan, and Anne. And then when you come back on the next day, you turn around to it and say, scan my Gmail, because we enabled that connector, and look at who replied and who didn't. Based on who didn't, let's send them a follow-up email. You can use Claude Cowork at this level, like 100, 200 contacts, with a Excel file that Claude will build out for itself as its own little mini CRM for those 100 people.
And as you're talking, I'm just thinking, you said scan your email, which led to this thought. Why not send it to people from the last 3 years that didn't do business with you? And then why not just send it to your whole contact base?
This is a fun little story, and I'm considering starting to use AI for this. When I was running the web agency in Dubai, we made more money from the Dilbert comic than anything else. I had one assistant employed, and their entire job was to take a picture of the Dilbert magazine in the Khaleej Times, the newspaper. They looked at the CRM, and they found the 60 people who we hadn't spoken to for the longest period of time, and they sent them a picture of the comic. And it said, hey, Joe, I saw this in the paper this morning, made me laugh and think of you. I hope all is well. Hope to speak soon, Pete. We got more business from that than our sales and marketing team, because people just went, oh yeah, I was talking to some guy about websites earlier on. I completely forgot you even existed. Just the ability to stay front of mind with people is 90% of the battle. And the beauty of this system was, because we did 60 people, it was a kind of exact number. We were adding more than 60 in every day from going to events and conferences and speaking and seminars. So nobody ever went back through the rotation.
Yeah.
So it was always just nudging people. Hey, we're still here. We still exist. AI could do this for you in a heartbeat now. Look at my Gmail and only find potential customer emails and send them this.
And I'm guessing it could scan the email for customers that didn't do business with you, either never responded to an outreach.
Well, you'd say something like, go through my email. Yep. And then go through my Stripe or go through my CRM, cross-reference the two to only pull out the people that didn't purchase something and send them a quick, hope everything is good message.
What about, and now I'm just thinking out of the box here. You have a new product, a different line, something improved. Go through my email and find out who purchased something that looked like this in the past and offer them this.
100%.
All via email. You didn't even do it. Right?
Well, and if you're using Claude Cowork on your local machine, it can also connect to your iMessage and it can do that.
We're definitely going to have to do a series on YouTube. That's a great idea. Why don't we do a series, building a funnel on...
Hey, this is the easy way for people to understand Cowork. If you can do it on your machine using your keyboard and your mouse, so can it.
If you can type, use your fingers to type on your keyboard, what you're saying is, so can Claude Cowork, just without the fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to wrap your head around, but...
It is.
My gosh, is it powerful.
It's the last couple of weeks have just been an absolute explosion in capability, and it's not slowing down. It's so much fun.
Like, where do we go from here? At the pace this is...
Beam me up, Scotty.
How far away is it?
Who knows? Because it's working on itself.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I hope we landed that well enough for Michael's post, which is, he's talking about the 19 API stack is the end state of the system, and that anyone can start building today with the right tools and, a couple hours. But the point is, you got to know who you're reaching, write something that sounds like you wrote it, right? And then follow up consistently, which we don't have the bandwidth ourselves to do, but the AI stack does. And not only does it make it faster and probably better output and content, I think the biggest key here is you don't need a developer to do it for you.
No.
This is well within your fingertips. It's
100%.
just every week I struggle to keep the show not so long that we can, people want to listen, but I don't know which shiny object to introduce each week. I'm picking 2 out of 100 every time. There's so many I want to do. Another just amazing show. Peter, thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm going to promote this for you, is your audit. How can people who don't know what they don't know, they don't know how AI can help their business, they don't know what they don't know is the best way I could say it. How can they get, it's a free audit, right?
Audit.peterswain.com. You answer a few questions and it will give you an evaluation of your sales, your marketing, your operations, and your strategic capability. It'll talk about where you're at as a business, what industry you're in, and it compares it to, I think it's 2,000 conversations that we had to pick out the nuggets. So people at this stage typically could benefit from this, this, and this. It's completely free. It's not gated. You don't have to speak to one of my team to get hold of it. It really was just a kind of give back after 3 years of seeing so many people accelerate in their learning, but struggling in where they apply it.
What is it at its core? If you could distill it into, like, if I gave you a, 50 character limit.
Who are you? Do this, earn 200K.
Wow. All right. Simple.
Right. It takes somebody and go, don't even think about sales and marketing. Think about your operations, how you're going to use AI for ops, because your sales and marketing is doing well, but your ops is suffering. Or your sales is doing great, but your marketing sucks. It literally just looks at the business, tells you where you should pay attention, and tells you roughly what to do in order to get the results.
Incredible. Well, like I said, another great show. I get excited every week. So thank you, Peter. Folks, I hope
It's
you
a nice pleasure. Love it.
I hope you get out of this what I get out of it. If you would like to get more out of it, go to audit.peterswain.com and or send us an email, idiots@successfulidiots.com. For Peter Swain, I'm Joe Downs. We are your successful idiots. We'll see you next week.